This question came from Andy Vasley. It says, what are the biggest lessons learned from jiu-jitsu that transcend the art of fighting itself and can be applied to being an effective leader? So, I'm a practitioner of jiu-jitsu, and it's a pretty incredible thing to train. And for those of you that train jiu-jitsu, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't train jiu-jitsu, go train jiu-jitsu. Because there's so much to be learned from jiu-jitsu about leadership and about life. I mean, for instance, I talked about discipline a lot today. In jiu-jitsu, you're going to learn about discipline because it takes discipline to get on the mat day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And you won't always feel like training. As fun as jiu-jitsu is, there's going to be days you don't feel like training, but you have to find the discipline and you have to do it. So you're going to learn about discipline in jiu-jitsu. You're also going to learn about humility. Because in jiu-jitsu, you will get humbled. You will get beat by people that are smaller than you and weaker than you, and they will smash you. They will literally submit you. And that is humbling, and there is no escaping it. And those are very important. Because, like I said, I've said this before, is that those are lessons that some traditional martial arts would try and teach you almost as theoretical lessons, like you must be disciplined. They'll tell you that in theory. But in jiu-jitsu, like I said, without discipline, there's no progress. And in a traditional martial art, they'll say, you must be humble. Like I said, in jiu-jitsu, you actually get humbled. So jiu-jitsu teaches you a lot about life. And that's one of the things that makes it so powerful. And it, as the question, back to the question was, what does it teach you about leadership? It absolutely teaches you some key things about leadership. And I'll give you a couple of the most important elements. First of all, detachment. And I've mentioned this word a couple times today. In jiu-jitsu, I'll tell you right now, if you let yourself start to get frustrated, or you let yourself start to get angry or just emotional in general, you will start to make bad decisions. And when you start to make bad decisions, that is the beginning of the end. So you have to be able to detach from that emotion, that frustration, and you got to focus on doing the right thing at the right time. It's absolutely necessary. And that's the same thing in a combat leadership position or in any leadership situation. You cannot get caught up in all the chaos and all the mayhem. You can't let your emotions get a hold of you. So you have to be able to detach from that. You have to be able to step back and breathe and see the full picture of what is happening without the cloud of emotion and all that mayhem obscuring your vision, so that you can make good decisions. And jiu-jitsu will teach you to do that. Now, another piece of jiu-jitsu that transfers directly into leadership is the idea of indirect warfare, right? So in jiu-jitsu, the whole premise is to attack the weaknesses of your opponent. You don't want to attack their strengths. You want to attack, just fundamentally, you attack the weak areas of their body, like the joints or the neck. You're not attacking the strongest parts of their body. And if you attack where your opponent is strong, so if you have an opponent that's very good at defending one position or one type of hold, you're just going to wear yourself out as if you're attacking that. And eventually you're going to run out of energy, and then they're going to get the advantage. So you can't just attack the strengths. You have to attack the weak points in jiu-jitsu. Now, on top of that, you also have to distract your opponent. And you have to make them defend some area. So you might maybe attack one area so that they put their defenses there, but it's just a feint. Because what you're really going to do is you're going to go and attack an area where they're not defending. You're going to attack their weak areas. And it's the same thing with leadership. And the clearest example of where this is directly seen in leadership is when you're dealing with people's egos. So you take a person that has a big, strong ego, you don't attack that ego head on. That will just make that person get ultra defensive. Right? If you attack their ego, they're going to get defensive immediately. Now you've built up. Now you're going to have an even harder fight. So what you do is you bypass their ego. Maybe you even massage their ego a little bit so that they let down their guard. So that they let you into their head a little bit, and then tactically and quietly you sneak in and you plant the seeds of what you're trying to get them to do, of where you're trying to lead them. And soon enough, without seeing it, those seeds are going to grow, and your idea and your plan and your leadership comes to fruition. And that is indirect warfare. And it's the same thing in jiu-jitsu, it's the same thing in business, and it's actually the same thing on the battlefield as well. We don't attack enemy strengths unless it cannot be avoided. So take up that jiu-jitsu, start training, and apply those lessons across the board in your life.